one thing I've learned about leadership, just generally in leadership, the leader is not the smartest person in the room. All right? He's not always the smartest person. When you're a leader, your strength is in the ability to be able to harness the gifts around you. It's the same thing in the family. All right? Like I said, your wife is a very smart person. So you don't shut her down. No. All right? But you allow her to, you pick those ideas, you discuss them, and one of you, you make them your own.
Definitely.
It's like even in any organization, as the CEO, for example, you're not necessarily the smartest person in that organization.
No.
But you get around yourself people who are smart, people who are good in what they do, and then you take all those ideas and then you lead. And guess who takes credit at the end of the day? You take the credit at the end of the day. Because you're the leader.
You're the leader.
Isn't it? You know. So that's what leadership is all about. So being able to also just harness all those gifts that God has given you through your wife and one of you, but being able to chart the way forward.
Men on Record, every Friday at 7 p.m.
Good evening once again, and apologies for that technical hitch. We are back on this Friday, the 28th day of March 2025, and you're just in time for the day's news. On today's conundrum, we take a look at the shift to SHA crisis, where Kenyans have recently found themselves in the midst of a healthcare crisis, with many struggling to pay for services under the new Social Health Authority SHA program. What then is the way forward? Or in this case, is the way forward backward? That is to return to NHIF. Stay tuned for that towards the end of this bulletin. I'm Tess Njenga, and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. Let's kick off. Now, religious leaders from the western region of the country under the National Council of Churches of Kenya, NCCK, have asked the government to abandon the new SHA insurance scheme and revert to the previous NHIF plan if it is unable to effectively implement the new one. This comes just hours after the government allocated 22 billion shillings to reduce the deaths linked to the new SHIF insurance scheme. Yet complaints about the plan continue to emerge. Eli Onyango, a leader of the NCCK from Kakamega County, voiced various concerns, calling on the government to reconsider its approach. At the same time, Seth Ogala, the chairperson of NCCK in the Western region, expressed disappointment over the early political campaigns in the country, emphasizing that political agenda should not overshadow the interests of citizens.
It is with great sadness that we note the pain and suffering across the country arising from the failure by the Taifa Care, formerly called Social Health Insurance Fund, managed by the Social Health Authority SHA, to cover the medical expenses of subscribers at different levels. The virtual privatization of health care means that the well-being of Kenyan citizens has been sacrificed on the altar of unjust financial benefit of a few government officials. The report by the Auditor General that the government does not even control the system that runs the Taifa Care is a confirmation that the government abdicated the responsibility of protecting the right provided for in Article 431A of the Constitution of Kenya, which states that every person has the right, A, to the highest attainable standard of health, which includes the right to health care services, including reproductive health care. Recognizing the failure by Taifa Care to deliver universal health coverage as promised, we demand that the government urgently reforms the model and benefits provided to match or be better than those provided by the defunct National Health Insurance Fund, NHIF. If this is not feasible, then the Taifa Care should be scrapped and the nation reverts to NHIF until we are ready to have a people-centered healthcare insurance system. Number 3, end early campaigns and focus on serving Kenyans. As has been observed through the years, the biggest hindrance to well-being of Kenya as a nation is rampant corruption driven by persistent politicking. It is sad that one day after election marks the beginning of campaigns for the next one, though it will be 5 years away. Today, nearly all elected leaders have stopped delivering on their responsibilities and are instead focused on corruption to amass enough funds to run campaigns in 2027. This is an abominable sin, and such money will be cast. We challenge all elected and nominated political leaders to put all their efforts on fighting corruption and delivering on the developmental and extension services Kenyans require.
Kapseret Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi has hit out at leaders whom he accused of advancing tribal politics. Speaking during a development tour of his constituency, Sudi singled out former Deputy President and Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya. The legislator insisted that leaders must shun tribal politics, which he noted only divides Kenyans. Similar sentiments were shared by Gatundu North Member of Parliament Elijah Kuroria, who had accompanied Sudi on the tour.
Badala wafanye raia kazi yake ni kutenga watu wetu. Sasa watu wetu ndio watalini waweka hapa. Kama hajafanya kazi yote, kazi yake ni kuzunguka tu na kuongea matope. Kwa hiyo miaka 2 na tumebaki, tukutane na 2027. Na wewe impeach, tafuta kama unamaliza impeachment, tukutane kwa leo. Wewe unapenda hata usema unapigia kura na kwa moja ile nyingine yote na tunapigia. Nataka tuambie hawa tunakuja kwa Kenya kufanya kazi na tuombi ni lazima tuwafanyie kwa sababu hawa ndio walilete hii serikali.
Hapa Eldoret kuna kabila zote ambao wako hapa. Na hii maneno Oscar anaongea ya ukabila. Lazima ukabila nchi hii iishe. Kwa sababu huwezi enda kwa shule upatane na mwalimu useme hutafunzwa na mwalimu wa kabila fulani.
Dagoretti North Member of Parliament Beatrice Elachi has mourned the tragic loss of her beloved son, that is Elvis Murakana Namenya, who succumbed to injuries sustained in a road accident on Tuesday this week. A somber mood filled the Holy Trinity Church in Kileleshwa today as family, friends, and leaders gathered to honor his life. They described Elvis as kind, generous, and hardworking. The final year student at African Nazarene University was set to graduate this June. During the memorial service, Elachi expressed her profound gratitude for the outpouring of prayers, love, and support that her family has received during this difficult time.
To summarize, because you will read it, just to talk about this young man and to talk about the sons and daughters that I have, many of them. And there are some of them inside here who have walked a journey with Elvis. And to say that Elvis, yes, God gave me Elvis at a very tender time. And he was among those young children that I really cherished. And he grew, he never went to hospital, never sick, so his hospital was this. But more importantly, he was a very introvert guy, but he loved football a lot. But then he came and grew, and he also loved music. But one thing I will tell you, he loved this church. And even me, when I come to church, if you ask the people of Holy Trinity, I've never come as missionary. In fact, I sit sometimes at the choir, I sing, and I go home. So today we are in church to celebrate this young man so that his soul, may the Lord have mercy and give him favor to see heaven. But then I want to talk to parents today about our children today. So we have a generation that believes they can sort out their own problems. So they wake up at any hour when one is in a challenge, and they will not even tell you. They will go, they will deal with the problem. They will only tell you if indeed they were unable to do it and there's a crisis. But they will bail each other out and you will not believe. So in the same breath, that's what Elvis did. Was in bed at 10:30 p.m. Was called to an errand of theirs, rushed, did it well. So when he was coming back, got a tire burst with the car. There are young people, they don't know that when you're driving any car and it gets a tire burst, do not break the emergency brakes. The car will skid. That's where you really, really find yourselves in crisis. What you just do, you hold on that steering. Try to ensure that car goes, and pray that it comes to a stop. So, in that, his brain now just moved and came out from its lobe, and that's what succumbed him. But then we as mothers today, let us pray for this generation.
President William Ruto has launched the Shirika Plan, a landmark program that integrates refugees and the host communities in Kenya. The Shirika Plan aims to promote socio-economic inclusion of refugees in the country by transforming camps into integrated settlements for both refugees and asylum seekers. Centered on human rights, the Shirika Plan will also nurture burden sharing, resilience, and shared prosperity amidst donor fatigue and global diminishing humanitarian support. Speaking at State House today during the launch of the plan, President Ruto said Kenya and partners have undertaken various initiatives to improve conditions for refugees and host communities. Wycliffe Africa, a leading Bible translation organization, has held a key event in Nairobi today, bringing together various church leaders to discuss the role of the church in Bible translation and missions. Wycliffe Africa Director Edwin Kiptinis has urged churches to partner with them in ensuring the Bible is translated in African languages, even as they engage in mission activities in the continent. The organization, which operates under Wycliffe Global Alliance, has been at the forefront in Bible translation efforts in Africa since 1942. Udhoni Karaoke now reports.
And each country has its own.
Wycliffe has raised up many consultants that are doing good work. In fact, they have consulted 78 languages. So our reason today for inviting you is to create awareness to you to say there are many languages, 2,000 in Africa, that still have no scriptures.
Across Africa, over 2,000 language groups still lack a Bible translated into a language they can understand. Recognizing this challenge, Wycliffe Africa is now calling on churches to actively partner in the translation process to ensure that more people have access to scriptures in their native languages.
SIL and Wycliffe are siblings. SIL was established in 1934, and 8 years later, Wycliffe Bible Translators was established. And the reason Wycliffe was established was to oversee the fundraising and recruitment of missionaries, which is what they are doing to date.
For World Evangelization, an organization also that I've been involved with since 1989, released a report that they called the Great Commission Report. You can download it from their website. In the Great Commission report, they pointed out that there are a group of 28% of people of the world who have never heard the name of Jesus.
Bible translation is a lengthy and complex process that can take several years to complete. It requires both financial investment and skilled personnel to ensure accuracy and effectiveness.
What does it take to do translation of the Bible? That's what I was told to talk about. And why do we take so many years? We have got many stages. The first stage is called pre-translation, where we do survey. Is the language viable? Is there variability of the language to warrant a translation program? And then we do social linguistics, where we look at the social aspect of the language.
As Wycliffe Africa continues its mission, they are calling on the church to stand with them in translating the Bible for the unreached communities.
AIU pays half the fee.
Much appreciated, Muthoni Kariuki, for that report. And on that note, we take a short break on Newswatch tonight. Don't go too far. We have more coming up after the break.
One thing I've learned about leadership, just generally in leadership, the leader is not the smartest person in the room. All right? He's not always the smartest person. When you're a leader, your strength is in the ability to be able to harness the gifts around you. It's the same thing in the family. All right? Like I said, your wife is a very smart person. So you don't shut her down. All right? But you allow her to, you pick those ideas, you discuss them, and one of you, you make them your own.
Definitely.
It's like even in any organization, as the CEO, for example, you're not necessarily the smartest person in that organization, but you get around yourself people who are smart, people who are good in what they do, and then you take all those ideas and then you lead. And guess who takes credit at the end of the day? You take the credit at the end of the day. Because you're the leader.
You're the leader.
Isn't it? You know. So that's what leadership is all about. So being able to also just harness all those gifts that God has given you through your wife and one of you, but being able to chart the way forward.
Men on Record, every Friday at 7 p.m.
I've actually been trying to find a balance. It's been really tough and hectic, but everyone says once you get a hang of it, it becomes better, and I don't know, but I'm hoping to find a balance soon because it's really been hectic. But you've been in the job industry for a long time, so I think you would know better. Sindio?
Huh? What time is it? I need to catch up on Leadership Forum. Do they have a radio here? Never mind. I brought my own.
No way. You can't be serious. Wait, why do you have a radio and you can just catch up with the shows on Hope FM podcasts?
Really? Even Meet of the Word?
I mean, you can find them on whatever platform, name it. AfriPods, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it.
But I'm not subscribed on any of them.
So no worries. You can just check out their latest episodes on hopemediakenya.org.
You can now listen to select Hope FM programs on your favorite podcast streaming platform or directly on our website, www.hopemediakenya.org. Listen and live.
Welcome back. The Kenya officers, or rather the health officers from the Aga Khan University Hospital, have raised concerns on the endometriosis disease, which has now become rampant in the country, hence affecting young girls and women in general. Speaking during a forum on period pain and endometriosis awareness, the officers have also warned women to take action immediately they feel unwell, especially during their periods, to avoid being affected by the disease. The health experts have pointed out that more than 70% of patients living with endometriosis disease have poorer lives compared to those who are not affected, and urged women to be more cautious and keen over their well-being.
So when I was in high school, I noticed that I was crying, missing days of school,
So I went and saw the first doctor. They told me, no, this just happens in adolescence and whatnot. It'll ease, as you're getting older, and also when you give birth, which is, a common misconception.
Yeah.
That when you give birth, the pain will go away. Fast forward, I finish high school. It's not going, it's getting worse. Now I'm having daily pains, constant bleeding. At some point, I couldn't even track my period because it was just heavy bleeding for
like throughout
2 to 3 weeks at a time.
We've also looked at the quality of life aspects in ladies who have endometriosis, and it is sad to say that 70% of patients who have endometriosis have poorer quality of life compared to those who don't have. We've also published something on their sexual life, and also 3 out of 4 ladies who have endometriosis report that they have challenges with their sexual life. There's a very recent publication that has come out looking at the mental health aspect of endometriosis, and we are bringing in a different angle that patients who might have symptoms such as depression may actually have an underlying condition like endometriosis.
I was anemic. I was jumping from hospital to hospital, just begging someone to believe me. I was telling them, I'm in pain, I'm bleeding so heavily, I'm missing. By the time I started working, it had gotten to the point where I'm missing, of course, weeks of work. You're talking to your HR. I remember one lady HR told me, okay, you can't be missing work because of your period. Are you the first? Are you the first person in the world to ever have a period?
Wow.
And why is your period more special than any other woman in this office?
Information is power. So early diagnosis, I think from the stories that you've had, some, like myself, got my diagnosis after 33 years. There was somebody else, Kezia, her experience was 7 years, and there are many women who are in between, And so enhancing, trying to get an earlier diagnosis as possible is the best chance of managing this disease.
Pain should not be taken lightly and to be normal. So if you have period pains, and they are persistent, they are causing distress, they're interfering with everything you could be doing. In young girls, could be schools, attending birthdays or playing with their friends. In older ladies, it could be interfering with work. It could interfere with relationships and anything else. So that is not normal. So if you are experiencing pain that is distressing to any degree, then it's important to always see a doctor.
President William Ruto's aide Farouk Kibet has called for increased support for widows and other vulnerable groups in society. Speaking at a fundraiser for the Shirugu Mugai Widows Group from Malava, Kakamega County, Kibet highlighted the numerous challenges widows face, including financial difficulties, social isolation, and emotional distress while raising their families. Kibet urged both leaders and the community to provide assistance to widows and women in general, stressing the importance of economic empowerment for women. He stated that supporting women economically not only benefits their households, but also contributes to stronger communities and the nation as a whole. Emphasizing the pivotal role women play in family development, Kibet assured that the country's leadership remains committed to supporting women economically at the grassroots level. And now in business, in a major step towards strengthening Africa's industrialization agenda, the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, has officially launched its Leather Value Chain Strategy 2025 to 2029. The launch took place in Nairobi during a high-level workshop attended by government officials, development partners, private sector actors, and delegates from COMESA's 21 member states. The event, hosted by the government of Kenya, marks a significant milestone for Africa's leather industry and broader economic transformation.
Doing that by also inviting the media. This is the process of sensitization. And we believe that with the media we can go very far. That's why in all our activities, we've been inviting the media so that the message is out there on the significance of the raw materials that they need to be transformed to finish the products. As was said during the launch, as Africa, we need to produce for Africans. And as Africa, we are the investors.
And primarily we're trying to develop value chains from the entire production line, from the tanning to actually finished products, by supporting especially local manufacturers so that we stop exporting raw materials or raw hides and skins, but rather create jobs by training and skilling especially the SMEs to be involved in this sector, and also to transform the large resource that we have in leather and skins to actual finished products.
CIC Insurance Group has reported a profit before tax of 3.99 billion shillings for the year ended December 2024, compared to 2.4 billion shillings recorded in 2023. This represents a 57% growth. The strong performance was largely attributed to growth in insurance revenue and strong investment returns, which grew from 2.9 billion in 2023 to 8.8 billion by December 2024.
So just a few hundreds shy of 4 billion profit before tax. In terms of total assets, we are at about 62 billion, coming from about 51 billion in 2023. Customer service index score of 86%, over 7,000 agents and brokers, and 152 billion plus assets under management. That is both money market and pension funds.
And Family Bank Group profit after tax surged by 38% from 2.5 billion shillings to close at 3.4 billion in the year 2024. Profit before tax closed at 3.9 billion shillings, representing an impressive 22.5% growth from 3.1 billion shillings recorded in 2023.
My people from Kisumu City, Kisumu Dala, they call it Europe, and of course these are my learned friends, the people from the Lakeside City, Lakeside County. My name is Favored Frank, and of course, just to let you know that on the 29th of this month, this March, the year 2025, we're gonna be having an amazing recording of the Overflow Show at Sitam Kisumu. You don't want to miss this, because we'll be talking about addictions among the young people. You don't want to miss. And of course, guess what?
I'm going to be joining Frank Favored. I go by the name Maria Makau Mondi. My in-laws, Zuko Kisumu, we are kujain.
Masemegi.
Oh, bas, mashemko. Tunakuja kwa mpigo vile Frank anasema. I'm not going to be on the Overflow, but guess what? I'm going to be on the Sitam Kisumu.
It's a church
service.
Yeah.
So you're going to join us. We're going to be interacting. You're going to have a tent selling merchandise. And most importantly, joining with you, Rafiki Mso, to tell you all about us, and also to tell you thank you for supporting us. My name is Maria Makau Mondi.
And of course, Favored Frank, tell a friend to tell a friend. Invite one, invite 2 people, 10 people. Let's do this together, guys.
Aya, I'm not go TV stream. It's free.
Go TV stream iko mkononi na ni free. Download Go TV Stream app for free. Enjoy live TV na shows kamia nane. Download and watch later, anytime, anywhere. Go TV Stream iko mkononi na ni free. Available to active subscribers. Go TV, love it.
Welcome back in sports. With just a day to go before the Kenya Cup semi-finals, teams are exuding confidence as they gear up for what promises to be an exhilarating weekend of rugby action. The battle for a place in the April 12th final intensifies as defending champions Cabras RFC hosts nondescripts RFC at the Kakamega Showground, while KCB Rugby welcome Menengai Oilers to their Ruaraka grounds in Nairobi tomorrow. KCB Rugby 8-time Kenya Cup champions will be aiming to secure their spot in the final once again as they take on a formidable Menengai Oilers side. Austin Sikutwa, KCB winger, reflected on the season's journey, emphasizing the team's readiness despite facing stiff competition throughout.
We had some tough matches, but just put our best foot forward and make sure we are where we are right now. It's just teamwork and make sure like we do everything right concerning our gameplay and everything. According to me, it will be a tough match, and it's been always tough playing Menengai Oilers, but I think the boys are ready and we are well prepared. Looking forward to win and playing the finals. And
reigning women's volleyball championships, or rather champions KCB, will on Tuesday next week depart for Abuja, Nigeria for the 46th edition of the African Club Championship, scheduled to take place at the Mashoud Abiola Stadium from April 1st to 14th, 2025. Under head coach Jafet Munala, KCB will face off against some of the continent's top volleyball powerhouses, including Zamalek, Al Ahly, and Nigeria Customs Service in the highly anticipated two-week tournament. In the 2024 African Women's Volleyball Club Championship, KCB women's volleyball team reached the semi-finals but were defeated by Egypt's Zamalek with a score of 3-1. KCB had previously secured the prestigious championship title in 2022.
That there is victory in the atmosphere. We have just flagged them off, and we are sending them with our best wishes and our blessings. And I think what has encouraged me is comments and remarks by the head coach and the technical bench. The girls are ready. Our women are ready. They are prepared.
What I can say is that we have been there. We have been there several times. And last time we won this trophy was in 2022. 2023 we lost it. 2024 we lost it. But this 2025 we are very much hopeful that we are going to bring this trophy back. We have a good team. Combined of experience and young players to boost the KCB squad, and I'm hopeful that you are going to do well in this championship in Nigeria.
On the Kenya Premier League fixtures this weekend, AFC Leopards are set to face their longtime rivals Gor Mahia Kogalo at Nyayo Stadium at 4 p.m. on Sunday. The Mashemeji Derby is set to bring a new move in the Kenya Premier League after the loss on Sunday in the World Cup qualifiers, where Harambee Stars lost 2-1 against Gabon at Nyayo Stadium. And on the FA Cup fixtures, Manchester City will be playing against AFC Bournemouth at Vitality Stadium on their sixth round clash on Sunday evening. Meanwhile, Manchester City under head coach Pep Guardiola will be fighting for the FA Cup championship after losing their hope on winning the English Premier League title this season. Well, on today's conundrum, we take a look at the shift to SHA crisis. Kenyans have recently found themselves in the midst of a healthcare crisis, with many struggling to pay for services under the new Social Health Authority, that is SHA program. SHA was introduced with promises of better coverage and improved healthcare access, replacing the previous National Health Insurance Fund, also known as NHIF. However, the reality for most citizens has been far from the promises made by the government. The introduction of SHA has unfortunately left many questioning whether it was indeed a step in the right direction. Reports from various sectors indicate that rather than improving access to affordable healthcare, the new system has instead created additional burdens. Costs have skyrocketed, and despite multiple assurances, SHA has not lived up to its expectations. Kenyans are now paying more for healthcare services than they ever did under NHIF, which raises an important question. Is SHA really the solution, or has it exacerbated the problem? In the private healthcare sector, the Kenya Association of Private Hospitals recently suspended services under SHA, citing unpaid arrears and financial instability. Even religious leaders under the National Council of Churches of Kenya, NCCK, have voiced their concerns, calling for the government to scrap SHA and revert to NHIF. The argument is not just rooted in economic factors, but in the real human impact the new insurance scheme has had on families across the country. People who are already grappling with the challenges of daily life, such as food insecurity and poverty, are now forced to deal with skyrocketing healthcare costs. This growing discontent among the Kenyan public is only compounded by the government's attempts to assuage the crisis. While the government allocated 22 billion shillings to reduce the deaths linked to SHA, the fact that complaints about the system continue to emerge suggests that the issue goes beyond just financial support. The government may have tried to inject funds into the system, but it has failed to address the root cause of the dissatisfaction, unaffordable costs, and the inability of the program to meet the needs of the majority. What then is the way forward? Or, in this case, is the way forward backward? That is to return to NHIF. NHIF was not without its faults, but it was more affordable and had a wider reach, making it more accessible to the average Kenyan. While reforms were certainly needed, a complete overhaul to SHA seems to have backfired, leaving people with higher costs and more confusion. The reality is that healthcare is a basic human right, not a privilege. It should be accessible to everyone, regardless of their financial situation. Just this week, Turkana Central Deputy County Commissioner threatened residents of Turkana who are not registered with SHA, telling them that they would not receive relief food if they are not registered on SHA. Big question is, if some citizens are struggling to afford food, how can they be expected to pay for increasingly expensive healthcare? In conclusion, what Kenya needs now is not a healthcare scheme that burdens its people, but one that alleviates their struggles and guarantees access to the care they need to survive and thrive. And that is today's conundrum. That's today's conundrum brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. On behalf of the whole crew, thank you for watching. I'm Tess Njenga and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Muredi. God willing, see you next week. Have a good night.